It is 7:10 p.m. and we call this meeting of the Elgin Independent School District to order. I'd like to announce that there is a quorum of the board present, that this meeting has been duly called and posted in the time and manner required by law. This time we'll cite the pledge of allegiance.
Good evening. I have present today Miss Michelle Martinez and some wonderful students from Elgin Elementary to lead us in our pledge.
Good evening. Good evening, Board President Mitchell, Dr. Ritter, and members of the board. My name is Michelle Martinez, proud principal of Elgin Elementary School. It is my pleasure to introduce to you three very outstanding students of our campus. Their names are Deacon Crunk, Isabella Sanchez, Quest Chalupa, and they will lead us in the pledge this evening. Thank you. One, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is public comment. Before we begin, I'll remind the audience members of the board's procedures for handling public comment. The public comment portion of our meeting is available to members of the public who wish to address an item on tonight's agenda. Anyone who wishes to speak during public comment must sign in prior to the start of the meeting and list the agenda item they want to discuss. Each public comment speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board. Any public testimony speakers who require a translator will receive up to 10 minutes to address the board. Public comment portion of the meeting will allow all speakers who have signed up before the start of the meeting to address the board regarding an item on tonight's agenda. Please keep your comments and criticism civil and courteous. Please avoid using profanity and refrain from making personal attacks on others during the opportunity to speak. Last, we ask that you not discuss students who are not your own child. If a speaker is seeking board resolution of a specific complaint, that concern should be addressed through the district's grievance process. District policy DGBA has been established for addressing employee complaints. Policy FNG is the avenue for filing parent complaints, and policy GF addresses community members' complaints. Grievance forms can be obtained at any campus administration office or in the central administration office. First speaker for this evening, Alexandria West.
Good evening and thank you. This message has been provided to me by a collective of teachers that are afraid to speak here tonight. We want to share a concern that many staff members and families have expressed privately. Reports of ICE presence near one of our campuses, even if it occurred after school hours, has created fear and anxiety among many of our students and parents. This is not about politics. This is about the emotional safety and the well-being of the children that we serve. Many of the parents that have been here have felt scared, and many of the families are unsure of what this means for them. When students feel unsafe, it affects their ability to learn and to feel secure at school. No matter what is happening outside of the school, we are here to make these kids feel safe. That is our role as educators. Our classrooms must remain safe spaces where students feel protected, supported, and able to focus on learning. Right now, some of our students are carrying fear into this building. They need reassurance from the adults and the leaders that they trust. Many of us are wondering why this situation has not been addressed or acknowledged by our campus and district leadership. We were able to communicate quickly about other student-related events, so the silence around this issue is being noticed and felt. Even a message focused on reassurance, clarification of school protocols, and support for our students would help reduce fear and rumors. How does the district plan to address this with staff, students, and families? What guidance can we share with our students who are expressing this fear? Will there be communication from our leadership or the school board to reassure our community? We care deeply about our students, and we want to ensure that they feel safe coming to school. Clear communication from our leadership helps build this trust, and it allows us to better support our families. We should also not fear going and talking to our administration about this. Elgin ISD needs to do a better job at making sure that our teachers feel heard. The reach the E is not cutting it. And a lot of us just don't feel like we can tell the truth because we don't want to be reprimanded. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Jules Santi. Hope I'm not messing that last name. Thank you. Santa.
I'm going to pull up my note. Maybe. Come on. There we go. Hi, my name is Jules Asada, and I've lived in Elgin for about 13 years. I am a retired teacher of over 30 years, mostly in St. Louis, Missouri. And then I retired from the EISD district after 10 years serving as a special education teacher. Oddly enough, my comments are different, but of a similar ilk from the previous speaker. At BISD, my work was primarily serving students who either had a disability and or behavioral challenges in self-management and handling classroom environments due to trauma. The current situation in our town and our state and our country brings an element of risk and a loss of sense of safety through having ICE in our streets, acting frequently and without recourse upon the citizens of our country and certainly our town. Research and experience lets us know that trauma significantly impacts students' ability to learn. The windows of the brain and the upper cognitive function moves first through the emotional part of the brain, and that part shuts down when fear and trauma impact the ability to be open. I believe that our teachers and staff have the best intentions for our students, and I know that they too are impacted by the trauma of this situation. Being under threat of losing someone you love, being under threat of perhaps being detained illegally yourself because of the color of your skin, because of the accent that you have, because of where you shop. There's no way that this doesn't have an impact on not just students, but also on the adults that care for them and teach them and serve them in this district and beyond. I asked the school board to work with our superintendent and school counseling staff to find and utilize all available resources to support the mental health of our students and staff in this district. You know, we lost ground during COVID, and we're still trying to make up for that. And that was its own trauma. And at this point, we are in a similar situation. And so I ask again that this board support the superintendent, counseling staff, and all the staff of our district and help them through this process for their sake and also for our whole community, because we are indeed one family. Thank you very much.
you. Next, we ask to approve the minutes of the January 12th, 2026 board workshop and regular meeting.
So move.
Motion by Mrs. Waltershire.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Wilson. Any questions? All in favor of said motion respond by aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? Motion passes 7-0. Next item, recognitions, Mr. Rodriguez.
Good evening, President Mitchell, Dr. Ritter, members of the board. We have a few recommendations and talk today. Recognitions today. We're going to begin with our athletic director, Coach Anderson.
Good evening, President Mitchell, Superintendent Ritter, and our board. I am Jens Anderson, Athletic Director at Elgin ISD, and it is my privilege to get to recognize Coach Hope Pollock this evening. Coach Pollock returned to Elgin ISD this year to take over as head coach for our volleyball program. Through countless hours over the summer and in the fall, she motivated the girls in our volleyball program to grow through practices, team events, and community outreach. The resulting growth of our volleyball program was clear throughout the year, and Coach Pollock was named the District 23 5A Volleyball Coach of the Year at the conclusion of the season. Following that achievement, in January, Coach Pollock was also recognized as the Texas High School Coaches Association Region 8 5A Head Volleyball Coach of the Year. We're proud of the growth that Coach Pollock has fostered in our volleyball program and look forward to seeing our girls continue to grow under her leadership. Thank you.
All right, take two, see if I can speak now. I have the pleasure this evening of talking about Miss Marissa Marcial. Where is she? Here she comes. Miss Marcial is a gifted and talented teacher at both Trinity Ranch and Elgin Elementary. And she was recently named a Rising Star Award winner by HEB. This is a very prestigious state level award that honors outstanding teachers in Texas with less than 10 years of experience. Also those who have a passion and innovation that they bring to their classrooms. Ms. Marcial and her students were surprised recently by HEB Prize Patrol. You can see those pictures there. We're very excited that she's not only in the district, but teaching our students. And I think she represents a fine example of what we hope all of our teachers to aspire to be. Ms. Marcial.
We'll continue with our recognitions for tonight with the One Team, One Dream Award. I'm Emily White. I'm the communications coordinator here. As you know, our theme for 25-26 is We're All in This Together. Each month, we are honoring an EISD staff member or team or community member who goes above and beyond to embody this spirit. The One Team, One Dream Award celebrates those who work collaboratively to solve problems, to care for or support others, and those who hold high expectations for themselves and our students. Our first honoree comes from the high school, and specifically our Elgin FFA from Becky Moss. And she says, Christy Cooper has had two sons who have gone through our FFA program, with the last one graduating last year in 2025. Yet she still continues to serve our FFA and 4-H students. She's the treasurer for our county stock show, where she is in charge of organizing fundraisers and helps out by putting on and running the county stock show and youth fair. She has also served Elgin FFA as the Booster Club president, who tirelessly gave and supported the 4 ag teachers and the 100 plus FFA members at Elgin High School. She always wants what's best for kids and to help our program thrive. Can't think of a better person to honor during National FFA Week. Congratulations to Christy Cooper. Right. Okay. Congratulations. Thank you. Our second honoree is actually a group, and they were nominated by Mary Grimm, who said, "Our literary first team has collaborated across the district this year to provide strong, consistent support for one another and our students." They navigated several challenges, including transitions between campuses, collaborating around testing at multiple locations, while others attended required training, adapting to a new instructional approach, and more than doubling the number of students they serve. Throughout these challenges, the team has demonstrated exceptional flexibility, professionalism, and commitment, continuing to support one another across all elementary campuses. Due to this continued collaboration so far, we have graduated 59 students from the program this year, according to Mary. Congratulations to Teresa Motes, Diana Villarreal, Diana Hutron, Shirley Navejas, Maritza Mendoza, Santa Cruz, Alexandra Oviedo, and Laura Aguirre. Ready? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
That concludes the recognitions.
Thank you all for well-deserved recognitions. Next item, move to the superintendent's report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mitchell. First off, just to highlight, I always like to highlight when we have our professional development days that we have built into our schedule, and so appreciate the board's support in having these days for our staff, for our teachers to have time together to learn. Our PD Day in February provided staff with meaningful opportunities to strengthen both their professional practice and their ability to support students holistically. This day included mental health first aid training, equipping educators and staff with the tools they need to recognize early signs of mental health concerns, respond appropriately, and connect students with available supports. Teams also engaged in comprehensive data reviews to analyze student performance trends, monitor progress toward campus and district goals, and identify targeted instructional strategies. Overall, the PD Day reflected the district's ongoing commitment to student well-being, data-informed decision-making, and continuous professional growth. We have some very exciting news. I'm sure you have seen this announced. Our district is participating in the Texas Teacher Incentive Allotment, and we successfully earned this validation with 35 Elgin ISD teachers receiving prestigious TIA designations, recognizing outstanding student performances and professional growth. This is a huge milestone for our district. We are so very, very proud. Of those designated, 14 earned master teacher status, placing them among the top 5% of educators statewide. Additionally, 13 teachers achieved exemplary status, the top 20%, and 8 earned recognized status, top 33%. These designations are valid for 5 years. They are recorded on teacher certifications and result in a significant salary increase. Award amounts vary by designation level and campus socioeconomic factors. This validation represents a major milestone in Elgin ISD's efforts to recruit, recognize, and retain exceptional educators. The designations generate an estimated $230,437 in funding this year, with an estimated $1.15 million over the next 5 years. While TEA requires that 90% of the funds be allocated to teacher compensation, Elgin ISD is committed 92% of those funds directly to those educators, strengthening our ability to attract and retain top talent. So this is a huge accomplishment for our district. We're very, very proud, and you'll be hearing more about this, and we will make sure that we also recognize these teachers as well. So acknowledging that Elgin ISD is so proud to recognize Black History Month, honoring the achievements, culture, and contributions of Black Americans through campus activities, instruction, and student learning experiences. Campuses have planned various events and activities, as well as they have these posted on their social media pages. So please just pay attention to these. And there are some, if you have campus connections, that you are more than welcome to attend. It is also National CTE Month. These are our career technical educators. This month, we're celebrating our faculty and staff who make career and technical education incredible in Elgin ISD. And I do have to say incredible. We have a very strong CTE program in our district, one that is highly regarded across the state of Texas. CTE allows us to bring real-world industry expertise into our classrooms, and it connects students to industry professionals and work-based learning opportunities, and aligns instruction to both workforce and academic standards. And I'm going to just announce a quick little note that I got from Principal Staples, as well as our director, Maggie Howard. Just really fresh off the press, guys. This is exciting. Our automotive tech program that we have in the district, Mr. Silkett, I believe, instructor, correct? This is our first time to have a state qualifier in this program. They were at competition this past weekend. So Sunday, this happened. And so we were all real excited to find this out yesterday. This is the first time in the entire, first time that we've had a state qualifier. And in the entire competition of District 10 with 30 students, she will be going to state recognized for our district. Elizabeth Salinas is her name, and she will be going to state representing Elgin ISD. It's a huge accomplishment. Yeah. So we're really excited. Yeah. Now I have a young lady representing our district, and the rest of those are gentlemen who were in the program, and they're so supportive. We're just really excited for her. We'll have her at a future board meeting as well to recognize her. Another big announcement here. We have our Purple Diamonds dance team and Wildcat Band Winter Guard. The Purple Diamonds dance team had an outstanding first competition of the season, bringing home impressive honors with platinum rating grand champion winner's circle top 3 over the entire contest. But then again, we have today a notification that Purple Diamonds also won 2026 Best of the Best Dance Team at the American Dance Contest hosted at Cedar Creek High School this past weekend, and we just found that out. More great things. Yeah, very excited. And then our Winter Guard earned second place in the highly competitive Scholastic A Division at its last competition. These performances, we always remember that, it is more than academics. Our kids are plugged in, they are involved and excited. It makes them want to come to school, be with their friends, be involved in programs that support them, and it helps to make healthier kids all the way around. So we appreciate all of our staff who help support these and our families as well, who also get them to all these practices and the competitions also. So very excited for our kids. Our National Signing Day, we had two student athletes committed to competing at the collegiate level. Bianca Galindo signed to play softball at Temple College, and Tyson McFarland signed to play baseball at Texas A&M Kingsville. We're proud of their hard work and excited to support them as they continue their athletic and academic journeys. Another little fun day. We had 100th day of school. I just can't resist these pictures. They're so much fun, and they were all over social media, but it was our 100th day of school. 100 days of being smarter, they said, showcasing creativity through projects and themed attire at our elementary schools. And it was just, it is so much fun. We just have a blast with that. So thanks for sharing those pictures. Our athletic fields, y'all, our spring athletic events are underway. I encourage you to take part, look at our schedules, and our athletic fields and facilities are just amazing. These are our new facilities and upgraded, and our new tennis courts. We now can host tennis tournaments in Elgin ISD. We're so excited. We're so excited. It's been a long time. That's right, Mr. Mitchell. So these upgrades are part of the voter approved 2024 bond and reflect our community's continued investment in student opportunities. Beautiful picture, isn't it? And lastly, I wanted to draw the board's attention to, you all have this here with you, and this is called the Texas Promise. I've given you a copy of this. This is from the Texas Association of School Administrators. You may remember the visioning document that used to be the we called it the Declaration of Independence for Public Education in Texas. We now have it's the Vision for Public Education coming from that visioning document. And I was fortunate enough to be asked to be there were 10 superintendents asked to be on the writing team for the Texas Promise, along with a lot of other educators who also helped. So we're listed in this document, but this gives the history of the visioning document, the context, and I'm just going to read this part of it. Public education is the cornerstone of our democracy and the key to a bright future in Texas. It is both a promise and a responsibility to nurture the potential of every child, to strengthen every community, and to ensure that our state thrives for generations to come. The Texas Promise, a vision for public education, affirms that schools are not merely institutions of learning, but the heart of civic life where knowledge, character, creativity, and belonging are cultivated. This vision is rooted in the conviction that all students, regardless of background or circumstance, deserve access to learning that is rigorous, meaningful, and transformative. It reflects the collective wisdom of educators, leaders, families, and communities across Texas. We believe that public education must inspire learning and curiosity, equip students with essential skills, and prepare them to contribute boldly in a rapidly changing world. You will hear more about this as we go. We are using this as foundational work with all of our administrators, teachers, all of our folks in our school district. And so I've given you all a copy so that you can take it and just have some light reading on your own at home. I'll quiz you later. So anyway, I'm very excited. I'm very proud to be a part of this work. And I know that we're already working with our school administrators on our campuses and in our district to move this work forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item is the president's report.
Oh, wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It's me. So our rising sixth grade night, February 24th, 6 to 7. We have job fair coming up also in the middle school on the 28th. We're doing a lot, guys, across the district to really help our students have that experience as they're going from one level to the next. Some of these have already happened because we're really far ahead down the road, working toward having this be a smooth transition for all of our kids as they go from elementary into intermediate to middle, middle to high school. So thank you to our principals and staff for that work. And then enrollment. 6242 as of today. So we continuing to grow. Those smiling faces are coming in. Okay, now I'm done. Thank you. Okay.
All right. I don't necessarily have anything I forgot to ask there. Did any of you attend any of your committee assignments since the last board meeting that you'd like to report on? Did you have, yeah, right. You have anything you want to share in that regards? All right, put you on the spot.
I mean, it was great. Dr. Hickman did a great job, taking a somewhat complicated concept and putting into a way that we can easily digest it. And I mean, just great stuff that's happening there. I'm privileged to be a part of.
I had an Elgin Education Foundation meeting. The only big thing is, we are planning a crawfish boil in April. It'll be down at the park and, community-wise, fundraiser, but also trying to get a lot of the schools and, different groups and organizations to pitch in.
What? All right, thank you. Thank you all for that report. Next item is the consent agenda. We have a lot of things on the consent agenda, and I'll just remind everyone that if you ever have any questions concerning anything on this agenda, you're always welcome to reach out to Dr. Ritter and if the questions. Of course, things come up at the last minute. That's just a reminder for all of us. So tonight's consent agenda consists of number one, approved budget amendment, transfer funds from security to co-curricular, extracurricular per FSRG guidance, approved tax report refunds and adjustments for January 2026, approved financial statement and budget amendment list for January 2026, approved investment report for January 2026, approved 2026-27 budget calendar, approved purchases greater than $50,000, the CTE/press box furniture purchase, and CSP competitive sale proposal 26, Elgin ISD playground renovations, C double classroom portables with restrooms for Harvest Ridge Elementary. Next item, approved purchase of recommended library materials, accept donation of books from Friends of Elgin Public Library, approved bilingual summer school hours, approved local improvement plans for Elgin Middle School and Harvest Ridge Elementary, approved staffing recommendations, approved administrative contracts, and resolution declaring real property as surplus and approving proposed sale of real property. That's our consent agenda. Are there any questions about any of those items?
Motion to pull G6A, G6B, G6C, and G12 for individual consideration.
What sort of things? Can you repeat that for me?
6A, 6B, and 6E.
6A, 6B, and 6E.
C, Stephen Charlie, and 12.
And 12.
Yes.
Make a motion to pull, item.
Well, hold on.
Oh.
Okay.
Need a second.
Okay. No, make a motion to pull them. We want to pull them.
What he's asking.
I'm asking for a vote individually on them, have individual consideration.
Right.
Not to pull them completely.
Okay, so you want to put each item?
Yeah, I mean, we can do the consent, but I mean,
Okay.
I only have a motion. I don't have a second.
Right.
Oh, second. Sorry.
So there's a motion by Mr. Barker, second by Mrs. Reese to pull item G, 6A, 6B, 6C, and item 12 for consideration, so for further discussion. Sorry. So that now if there's a motion, then we'll have to vote to have those items pulled for further discussion. Are there any questions? So all in favor of him, those motions to pull those items for further consideration, respond by aye.
Aye.
Also,
That was by hand.
okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor, since we just doing that now. All right, raise your hand, please, those who are in favor of that. Okay, those against? Okay, so motion is denied 4-3. Did I read that right? Yes. All right, so any other questions about so that means those items will remain in the consent agenda. So now we're asking to approve the consent agenda as it is printed.
I do also have a motion for item I2 to be pulled for discussion.
Okay, we haven't made it to that item yet. Let's finish the consent agenda. That's part of action items where you're looking, right? Correct?
Yes, but it should still be part of the consent agenda. It is not? Okay.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed?
I salute.
Motion by Mr. Moss,
Second.
second by Mrs. Waltershine. Any questions? All in favor of said agenda, please raise your hand.
Discussion?
Sir? Yes,
Just got a motion, a second. And discussion.
I'm sorry. Discuss those items. All right.
How many bids were there on the furniture for the press box?
Mr. Rainey Land.
Good evening. Mr. President, Board of Trustees, Dr. Ritter. In relation to the CTE press box furniture, pricing was solicited from a co-op, from a TIPS purchasing co-op. So this furniture met all of the procurement guidelines from Texas Government Code 2254. So in this particular purchase, we just solicited from one particular furniture vendor that we had experience with, but it did meet all the procurement guidelines related to that particular code that I mentioned.
Are there any other qualified vendors to choose from or get a quote from? Because that seems excessively high on a couple of items.
Qualified, yes. I mean, certainly on other co-ops, there are other vendors by board or TIPS. We've had a lot of success with this particular vendor over the recent bond packages. We've had 3 or 4 vendors across the 2024 bond. This particular vendor came in less expensive in most cases and gave us a much better service than what we experienced with 2 or 3 other vendors that we worked with across the 2021 bond. Between those criteria and of course their co-op affiliation, we've gone back to them for subsequent purchases in a couple of occasions.
Can you speak to the playground renovations a little as far as, I mean,
Sure.
$1.8 million.
Yeah, the playground renovations covered all of our existing elementary campuses, BTW, Igniting, and Elgin Elementary. All of those existing campuses were slated for playground replacements as part of the 2021 bond. That was part of our priority maintenance projects. They just, along with a handful of other small projects, got pushed to the end to make sure we still had funds to be allocated for that. So this project include full replacement of the playground and the playscapes at those 3 facilities. All of those playscapes were 20+ years old. The earliest one we could find was a 2003 playscape from Booker T. Washington. So each of those playscapes in total will be replaced with new fall surfacing. It'll be equitable with Harvest Ridge Elementary and Trinity Ranch Elementary. In addition to that, there are a couple of canopies that have rips in them that will be replaced. In addition to that, we will install a playground canopy at Harvest Ridge Elementary that didn't get installed during construction for a number of reasons, but that will be added onto this project as well. But those all will be done should we reach approval here. That will be done this summer. It is certainly a budget concern. But right now we're right about 10% over the estimated budget, but we're also 3 or 4 years out from the original time of, when we estimated this. So we're comfortable with that, and we do have the funds to cover that.
I'm not sure you're the one to ask on this, but in regards to the portables at Harvest Ridge, I know there's a lot of dynamics in play, but would we, is it feasible to use the empty wing at Elgin Elementary, especially if we're talking about combining campuses on other things and not knowing, well, seeing a slowdown with our demographer as far as the number of rooftops that are going in? Can we hold off on the portables, basically, what I'm asking?
Yeah, I think, and Dr. Ritter may want to chime in, and my opinion, for a couple of reasons, I guess I would advocate not to do that. We do have some upcoming construction scheduled for Elgin Elementary that we're planning to start this summer, but that we're planning to flex that empty space at Elgin Elementary to make it last throughout the school year. If you all remember the air conditioning woes that we had at the campus last year, we're planning to start that this summer, and potentially as early as this spring break, but utilize the empty space in that campus and shift the contractors and the students around so that we can continue to keep that project moving and fully complete the transition to new air conditioning equipment throughout that campus. But I think possibly more importantly, it could potentially impact zoning if we move students from one area of town over to a new elementary. That may be the bigger issue.
Can I go back to the press box furniture?
Yes,
for
ma'am.
Just a second. Does that come out of the 24 bond?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have, with all of our projects that involve new square footage like that, there's a what we call FF&E, a furniture, fixtures, and equipment budget that includes a budget for furniture, just furniture like we have in this room, but also technology equipment. And certainly in that space, we have a budget for specialty furniture, lighting, and all of the things that we'll have in that CTE space. And the amount you see here is less than what we had budgeted. So there's funds in that project to cover this.
So originally this, the press box was supposed to also serve as CTE classroom area, a space, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So what I did see in the, I didn't see any desk or, well, no. I didn't really see any desk. So is it not going to be part classroom?
They're a little bit more flexible space as opposed to what you might see in a typical excuse me, classroom where it's just a regular student desk and push-up chair. These are a little bit more like a training table, like you all are using here tonight.
Okay.
So we'll have students and they'll be able to roll out of the way for say a Friday night football game, so that space can be utilized in other ways.
Okay. And then those, I don't know, mauve single lounge mid-back armchairs. There are 10 of them that we're looking at, and they're like $1,500 a piece. So I'm just kind of trying to figure those in. Those are the ones that do what?
I'd have to look at, I'm not sure exactly which one you're pointing out. I know there are some specialty seating areas in there for the CTE and sound studio spaces.
Okay.
There is a small area for podcasting, for press rooms. They kind of serve double duty, podcasting for students during the day. In the evening, we'll have our coaches and recruiters and press in those spaces. So I'm not sure exactly which chairs those are, but many of these will serve double duty in the evenings as well.
Okay. Just trying to stay and be sure that we are fiscally being responsible for
Yes, ma'am.
the bond money that we're spending.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Barr, you have other questions?
No, I'm good.
You good? Ms. Reese? You have anything? Anyone else? Okay, so we've had a motion by Mr. Mars and second by Mrs. Waltershank to approve the consent agenda. The questions? Right, so all in favor of approving that consent agenda, please raise your right hand. Any opposers? Motion passes 6-1. Thank you. Next, have some information item, district scoreboard update, priority 1, student success, Dr. Hickman.
Good evening, President Mitchell and Dr. Ritter and members of the board. I'm here tonight to give you a presentation on Priority 1 as part of our regular cadence of priority presentations that we give you. Priority 1, as you know, is about student success. And so what I'm going to talk to you about tonight is just our mid-year assessment data. This is an opportunity to share that with you. You'll remember that Priority 1.1 is about academic achievement at all levels, academic achievement and growth at all levels. And so it's broken out there in the various ways that we're looking at Priority 1. I'm going to go ahead because what we're going to talk about today is enhancing and ensuring data-driven instruction and progress monitoring. So we're going to show you the data. So as you know, we have a combination of assessments that we use to gather information about how our students are progressing. That includes NWEA MAP, the STAR test, comprehensive unit assessments, common formative assessments, and of course, we never want to discount just teacher expertise, being in the classroom, knowing their students well. We are going to look tonight at growth that has been shown on our NWEA MAP assessments. And just as a reminder, we give the MAP assessment in grades 1 and 2 for reading and math, grades 3 through 7 in reading, math, and science, grade 8 in reading, science, and algebra 1, and English 1 through 4 by reading, and high school math by subject. So algebra, geometry, that sort of thing, not geography. Okay. So a little bit about NWEA MAP. This is probably an assessment that you've heard of, but it is sometimes a little bit difficult to define. So I wanted to start us with just information about what this assessment is. It measures core subjects. It measures both achievement, like how well a student is doing, think about it like a traditional grade, and also growth. So it shows how much of students have grown since the last time they took the assessment. It also gives us this is a fun education term, it's fun to say, zone of proximal development, which tells us where the student is and what they're able to learn next. So like what their next step for learning would be. The test is computer adaptive. So the questions get harder or easier based on student answers. It starts with a question that is where they think the student is. And then if they miss it, it gets a little easier. And if they get it right, it gets a little harder. And it goes through this pattern until the exam feels like it has a clear assessment of where the student's achievement is at this time. The test is untimed. It usually takes about an hour per subject. And a MAP reports achievement using something called a RIT score. And it is just a unique scale that they made up to measure the nationally normed data. This is a formative assessment. So this helps us inform our teaching. It is not something we take a grade on. Who uses the test? Our teachers use it to adjust lessons and meet individual needs. Our parents use it to understand their child's progress and focus areas. In fact, we send home parent reports after each MAP assessment. And schools and districts use it to monitor overall academic progress and report growth. So I can make a report like this to you tonight. So this is what Ms. Wilson was referring to. I actually did this presentation for DAC as practice. So for years, I have really tried to help people understand the way that MAP growth projections work. And I've recently come across this analogy that I think explains it pretty well. So if you'll indulge me just a minute, we're going to talk about plants. So imagine schools all across the country are growing the same type of plant. Researchers study all of the plants nationwide and learn that on average, this plant grows 10 inches in a year. So then 10 inches is the expected growth. We expect that you should grow your plant 10 inches because that's the average across the country. This is not an aspirational number. It's not the perfect number. It is based on what typically happens nationally. The 10 inches is what we're expecting. So now each school grows its own set of plants under these same expectations. At the end of the year, we ask ourselves, what percentage of our plants grew at least 10 inches? So think about that for a second. How many of our plants grew what was expected or more? And that's how we interpret our results. If about 50% of the plants nationwide reach or exceeded 10 inches, then that's the national average. So MAP is a nationally normed assessment. So this is how we're going to look at our growth projection. If fewer than 50% meet the national average, growth is happening. Plants are still growing, but they're below the national average rate of growth. So our picture we have here, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of our 6 that are below the national average. So there's growth, but it's not the growth that would be the same as the national average. If 50% of your plants meet or exceed the national average, your results match the national norm. You're right on target with the amount of growth that plants are seeing all across the country. And if more than 50% of your plants meet or exceed 10 inches, then your school is helping plants grow better than average, if more than half of them have grown. So this is how we're going to frame our MAP growth conversation. We're going to look at what is the national average and where do we fall in how we're growing students. So take your mind from plants and now think about students. I've got a marker there at 50%, that black line that you see across. So MAP creates a growth projection for every student based on where they are, and that essentially they say where the 10 inches is. And so whenever we look at our math growth projections, we look to see how many of our students or what percentage of our students met their growth projection. So if we look across here, this is our math data from 1st through 4th grade. And you can see we have last year in blue and we have this year in yellow. And I'm super excited to say that in all of these grade levels, our students met their growth percentage at higher than the average rate from across the country. Right, that's good. So this is the upper grades in math as well. You can see we do have a bit of a smaller growth there at 5th and 6th grade. And then across the board, we see pretty good growth there with our other math. We've had some conversation about why we see the dip at 5th and 6th grade. I know that there are some transitional years there for students as they move into different grade levels, different campuses. But additionally, those are students who were in kindergarten and 1st grade during COVID. And so I think we just still it's very clear where that group of students falls here. This is the same information, but for reading. So this is our MET growth projection in reading. Again, 2nd grade was at 49%, but all the rest of our early elementary grade levels are exceeding the national average in their amount of growth from fall of this year to mid-year of this year. This is the reading data for the older grades, 5th through 10th grade. You can see, again, that 5th, 6th, 7th grade, we're seeing a little bit of a dip, but otherwise we are exceeding the growth projection in reading. This is our science data. Remember, we take that 3rd through 8th grade. Again, this is an interesting one. This is the only slide that has it a little bit lower than last year in multiple areas. We implemented new science curriculum last year. And so I believe that last year we saw exceptional growth in science because we made a big shift in the way that we were teaching science. This in year 2, we didn't see quite as much growth. It doesn't concern me because they already were growing to a high level last year. So we might expect to see that slow down a little bit. I will say, however, it is higher than the 50%. So that continues to be encouraging. Okay, that's MAP. So that's one assessment that we give mid-year. Now we're going to talk about comprehensive unit assessments. That is the other, it's an exam actually. It's the other assessment that we do beginning of year, middle of year, end of year. So I'm going to talk to you today about the middle of year results for our CUAs. Before I do that, well, I'm going to go through my bullets. I got ahead of myself. We give it twice per year. We give it in the fall and again in the spring, and then they take STAR, which kind of serves as that third one. There are really specific question types on the STAR test, and we give the students those question types on our CUA. That's how we know if they're going to be prepared whenever that test comes around. So we do use release STAR questions, and our students take it online because they have to take STAR online, and we know that that in and of itself is something that students should practice. What I got excited about is I want you to look at the math problem on the screen. This is a sample question from the 3rd grade math STAR last year. So a number is shown, 858,386. Compare the value of 8 in each place value. Now remember, students are taking this on the computer, and then they have to choose from the drop down the place value for the 8 in each of those places. these children are 8 and 9 years old. So I just think it bears mentioning that what we're preparing our students for is challenging, and we're up for that challenge, but we need to understand that this is challenging work whenever you're 9 years old. Have to get that little plug in there. Okay. So this is our comprehensive unit assessment for reading, and you can see from 3rd grade up through English 2. This chart functions a little differently than the map one, so allow me to work you through it. The blue shows the number of students who reached the approaches level, and the yellow is the number of students who reached the meets level, and the gray is the students who reached the master's level. So across the board, and English 2 is a bit of an outlier, but we've got from 57 to 66% of our students who reached that approaches level on this essentially sort of practice star. Keep in mind also it's mid-year. We haven't finished teaching all of the things yet. This is the same information for math. You'll see these scores are a bit lower than the reading scores. It is important to note that math 8th grade, we have a lot of 7th graders taking 8th grade math. It's essentially our 7th grade advanced math. So that number skews a bit because that is essentially our advanced students in 7th grade who are taking that exam. But we can see here similar trend. We do see, 7th grade is impacted by the eighth grade test. I don't think I explained that well. I'm going to start again. In 7th grade, you can take on-level math or advanced math. If you take advanced math, you're essentially taking 8th grade math and the 8th grade test. So all of our advanced 7th graders are on the 8th grade column, and all of our not advanced 7th graders are on the 7th grade column. So that's why we see the disparity there. And this is our science data for 5th, 8th, and biology. Again, what you may remember at convocation, we recognized our biology team at the high school for their extraordinary outcomes. And you can see here that is continuing as well. That's a great celebration. And then here we have social studies for 8th grade and U.S. history. So what does this mean to us? I attempted to put this information together for you so we kind of would have an idea about how it would impact our accountability. We have a partnership with Daniel Brown with KT Accountability, who's a math genius, and he takes all of our assessment numbers and he says, if this was the STAR test, where would your accountability fall? And he gives that to us mid-year so we can monitor and adjust. And he'll give that to us again. I think it's the Monday after spring break when we'll look at that again with some additional data. So I'll just, in the overall column, walk you from the top to the bottom. Our 23-24 accountability rating was 61. 24-25 was 66. So we saw that increase last year, which you guys know about. The comprehensive unit assessment projection has us right now at a 65, which it's mid-year. We still have some teaching to do. The MAP assessment projection has us at a 70. So remember, MAP is measuring growth, whereas our CUAs are measuring like curricular TEKS, curricular content. So they measure some different things, but this is the progress that we see as of mid-year. This is my Olympic reference for my summary. We are in the race, okay? We are in the race. Our campuses and principals and teachers could not be working harder to obviously help students, but also see what else they can do. I feel like we are constantly, you could go on any campus in this district and know that they are looking at data and they are looking at how it informs their work. And I can say that with total confidence, and that's going to make the difference for us. And so, I've said this to you before, we're not where we want to be yet, but we're making progress. We're getting there and we're skating really fast. So with that, I will answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Dr. Heath.
Thank you.
Delayed certification plan.
Good evening, President Mitchell, Dr. Ritter, members of the board. I'm here to talk to you about the delayed certification plan for our teachers. Where's the slides? Are the slides in here? Slides. Sorry, I never. Well, I have slides. All right, so I did share this document with everybody, so you should have access to this. And as you may know, we are a district of innovation, and under that district of innovation, the rules say we can hire uncertified teachers into our foundational courses. And last summer, HB2 passed after session, and HB2 now places limitations on school districts' ability to hire uncertified teachers in foundational courses. So TEA has provided us with an out for that. They require that you apply for an extension, and in order to extend those requirements for the foundational teachers, I can't see with my glasses on. You must submit this application to TEA by March 2nd. This exemption will allow us to fully implement the support plan that we already have in place for teachers pursuing their certifications. Again, this must be submitted board approved by March 2nd, and we'll receive notification of whether or not we've been accepted by March 31st. This really impacts the district. We have 79 teachers currently that this will affect. 42 are in K-5 reading and math, and 37 are in reading, English, math, science, and social studies at the secondary level. Without this program, without this plan in place, we will not be able to put them in the classrooms over the next 2 years. One of the things that we have in place for this plan is to review certification requirements and the timeline with the teachers. We're already doing this. We're monitoring teacher certification status quarterly during our one-to-one meetings. The Human Resources Coordinator, Jackie Reese, and I meet with uncertified teachers during our quarterly meetings. Principals are invited to these meetings, and principals are aware of which teachers on their campuses are uncertified. We've also submitted an application for Grow Your Own Allotment through LASSO 4 grant, and that grant was accepted, which will provide us with financial support to keep this program going and help get our teachers certified. One of the requirements of this program are that we partner with at least one educational preparation program, and we are currently partnered with 5, Texas State, Stephen F. Austin, and Indiana Wesleyan Universities. Also, I Teach and Teachworthy alternative certification programs. And we are seeking partnerships with 2 additional alternative certification programs at this time. Do you have any questions for me?
What happens if the plan isn't accepted?
If the plan is not accepted, we will have 79 additional vacancies in our foundational courses, which again are reading, math, English, social studies, and science, K-12, on top of regular attrition.
I'd like to add just along those same lines. I was reading an article this weekend in the Dallas Morning News that across the state of Texas, there are more than 42,000 uncertified teachers in teaching positions in the whole state. It's a statewide problem. That doesn't make it better for us, but there is a bit of misery loves company, I suppose, there. The state has put this, has dictated everyone will be certified in elementary by next year, but then they realized like that's not really possible. And that's why they've allowed us this opportunity to apply for the waiver. We do have programs in place to ensure that anybody who is not yet certified is on the track to do that. And we continually brainstorm how we can get better at that. But this is, we're grateful that the state gave us this opportunity to apply for the waiver because it was quite concerning whenever they put out the statement that everyone had to be certified by next year.
And something that I just want to say regarding this as well is, this has been an issue. We know this, we've been hearing about this, especially since COVID time coming back, and we lost so many teachers out of the classroom, and we're coming back. It's coming back. I presented at midwinter because our district is one of the districts that has a very, very successful program for supporting alternatively certified teachers. We depend on alternative certified teachers now in the state of Texas. And it's important for us to have these strong programs in place, which we do, to make sure that they're getting everything they need. And even some of our TIA teachers we've just celebrated are alternatively certified teachers who are part of this group. So we want to be able to continue to support them through the programs that we have and what we're building and the support of the department, as well as the principals, mentor teachers, the whole system throughout the district of moving this forward. And everyone's goal is that become certified. That's our goal. That's what we want. And we're seeing that happen. They're making progress. And we're happy with the progress we're making in this area. It's an issue across the state, but we've been very proactive with it. And moving forward, we'll be able to meet the needs of these folks through this program. So it's just something that has to be done. The state requires us to do this waiver so that we can continue having them in those alternative certification programs that we support.
Have we already submitted the waiver?
No, you have to vote on it. You vote on it tonight in an action item so that then we move forward and send it to TEA. Districts are either doing it in January or February, getting it passed by their board and then submitting to TEA. And I think those are moving pretty quickly once they get the.
Yes. So just a note, it has to be submitted by March the 2nd. So if that's where you have it on your agenda as an action item this evening. And they've said that it could take 3 to 4 weeks to hear back, but Sarah has.
Majority of the districts that I'm hearing from are getting it back immediately.
Within a couple of days. So this seems as if TA, if we submit the waiver, then we feel pretty confident that we'll be okay.
I have another question. You said there's 79 teachers. Or do we have any idea like how many are almost done and possibly will be?
Yes, I believe we have 5 that are enrolled in an ACP part. All of the others are in ACPs and are just completing their coursework or their final testing. You have to do you have to take some tests and then you have to do some coursework and then you'll be approved to take more tests. So it's a process for each one and it just depends on which program they're going through.
I just didn't know if we knew that there was 10 of them that should be finished in May that would be certified, or there's 5.
Not offhand.
We do collect that data. That Human Resources Department and the principal meet with every uncertified teacher twice a year.
Yeah, well, quarterly.
To be able to like, where are you? What have you done? What's coming? That sort of information. So they have an individualized just spreadsheet with all that information.
Can we actually vote on this? Because it's an information item, not an action item.
It's further down.
It is further down?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Update on construction projects in 2021 and 2024.
Good evening, President Mitchell, Board of Trustees, Dr. Ritter, Rainey Land, Executive Director of Capital Projects. Good evening once again. Excited to bring you an update on our construction projects. Many of you have been out to see a ball game already this spring, so excited to finally have some fields that our teams can play on. So you'll see a little bit more about that. But we did end up with some really nice drone shots from our contractor during this project. So if nothing else, it's just a nice view of the fields and the surrounding area. Still with the 21 bond, we do have a couple of projects still remaining. Transportation project that's been lingering on for a while. We were seeing the fuel tanks being installed now. Know that'll be instrumental with our transportation folks and making sure things get fueled up. Landscape installation is wrapping up. Getting everything installed over the past couple of weeks. You can see there on the right, all of the concrete driveway and parking is installed. We have relocated what was on the left was the temporary access driveway for construction. That's now been relocated to the right. If you drive out there, we're down to one driveway. So that's good news. But overall, we're completing some interior mechanical and electrical connections inside the building. As I mentioned, the landscaping is wrapping up. They'll be spraying hydromulch to get the grass growing in the coming days. We did get some good news late this afternoon that Encore has been working with TxDOT to get a right-of-way permit. We actually, I spoke with Dr. Ritter about this today. We expected that to be weeks from now. I just got late news this afternoon that was approved. So we're back on track with Encore to get permanent power in weeks, not a couple of months. So that's good. We're still working with the FM 1100 expansion and all of our neighboring partners, Triata and Briarwood and those folks. We have learned that that will no longer delay the project. We will be allowed to use the facility even before that expansion has been finalized. So that's good news. And we continue to work with Triata for a wastewater connection. So we're in constant communication with them. But based on where we're at now, most of the interior work has been completed. everything that we can do without permanent power. So we're right on track there. We really, at this point, would anticipate potentially a summer transition to this facility if we can get power and wastewater. That's the two holdouts. Excuse me. Still on the 21 bond, we talked about this a little bit earlier. This is an overall site plan for Harvest Ridge Elementary. If you can believe it, we opened this campus less than 2 years ago. And today we're sitting at 754 students. So capacity for this building is 800 students. Generally, the rule is at 90% capacity, that's when you start looking at portables. 100% capacity is not, doesn't leave you any flex space. To say that building is at 800 students, that's at every room full capacity. That doesn't account for some of those rooms are SPED or GT or intervention, or they're used for ARDS. So to say that's 800, well, I mean, in reality, there's not 800 kids in those rooms. So you generally count for effective capacity at 90%. Well, we're there. We're actually past that. So when we look at the demographic projection that we saw last month, by our PEAMS snapshot of this coming fall, will be well over 800. So the two portables there will account for that. Our goal will be to get those set this summer or early next fall to give the campus administration some room to grow and give those kiddos a few extra classrooms. Overall, we'll work with the portable manufacturer to get the buildings here, to get those set. We've already been speaking with permitting authorities on what that will take. And then we'll have a small competitive seal proposal package that will be issued in the near future for utility infrastructure. The good thing about this is we did during construction for the actual building of Harvest Ridge Elementary, we did extend utility infrastructure such as water lines and sewer lines and those types of things. We anticipated this need and we extended all those lines out there. So it shouldn't be a huge lift to get these connected. Staying with 21 bond, our priority maintenance projects. We know we've got the administration building HVAC upgrades. That's this building here. We're working with our contractor to get those scheduled and make that project as minimally impactful as we can. We know folks in this building are generally here all summer. So we'll try to make that go as smoothly as we can. Elgin Elementary HVAC and electrical upgrades, that'll be a nice addition. A lot of the times at that campus, if something is plugged in, we trip breakers. So that campus has had some electrical woes for years. So the electrical upgrades will be a nice addition to that campus. We'll do that at the same time this summer. Ideally, we'll get this contractor in early. As you can see in that little shot there at the bottom, that front wing there that's all in gray. It's empty right now of students. There's some equipment and things being stored in those empty classrooms, but we'll try to get that contractor working as early as spring break and continue that effort. They can be up in the ceilings running ductwork and those types of things while students are still in school. This spring semester, there's a set of doors that'll close off and sequester them into that work area. And then come summer, they'll transition into the classroom space in the library and just continue working. But we're excited about being able to provide additional AC and heat as we get into next year. Playground replacements, that's just an example of what we might see at BTW Niding and Elgin Elementary. A lot of the playground structures at these facilities have reached the point where parts are obsolete. So we've got, with our maintenance crew, they've had to put up some plywood pieces and just kind of band-aid, if you will, some of the pieces of the playscapes out there just because the parts are no longer available. So we're excited to see replacements coming this summer. On the right side, you see bleachers and ADA repairs for the old middle school stadium. This is a project that's currently still in design, but we do anticipate starting this a little bit closer to summer. And then technology building roof replacement. That is also a project that's currently a design and scheduled for summer. 2024 bond. I don't have pictures of our Olympics speed, but this is a project that is moving very quickly. If you drive by there, it looks different daily. So this is a project we're excited about. The CMU walls, they're topped out now for the gyms, locker room space. The fine art swing in the bottom left. I looked at some pictures today that contractors had sent us over the weekend, and they've got metal decking out. over area A, what is the front part. So this project is moving very quickly. It's exciting to see the project going that smoothly. We've had great weather. So a lot of coordination there. But overall, we do have one area there you can see in green in that right picture. That's one wing of classroom space. That'll be poured this week. That'll be the final classroom wing to be poured. We do have some final waterproofing in the elevator pits. We haven't seen a lot of water on that site, so that's good. As we moved over to that side of the district, we got into a little bit more sandy soil, so that's worked out to our advantage as opposed to this clay soil on this side of town. And then we're also coordinating offsite fiber from Trinity Ranch. You all may remember the big fiber project that we recently did. We planned for this project and we pulled extra fiber to Trinity Ranch, and that'll be our hub for that side of the district. So from Trinity Ranch, we'll run fiber. Overall, it's about 7 miles worth of fiber to Trinity Ranch. So that'll be a project that we're working on now, and we'll release that project soon.
What's the population for
This will be built out for 1,200 initially, with a core for 15. We've allocated space on the site to add what you see there in green. That's a classroom addition. That's a 2-story classroom addition. So we've left enough space to add another one of those, which should ultimately serve roughly 300 students. So we'll build it for 1,200 with enough room on the end to add another 300 in the future if need be to make it 1,500. Next summer, so June 2027. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It'll be on here. Athletic improvements around the baseball stadium. We've got new tennis courts, as mentioned earlier. We're excited about those. One set is, of course, a brand new set with new tennis courts and lights, nets. And then the existing set was refinished, all new surfacing and new nets. So we've got 2 sets that look identical, really nice surfacing there for our students now to host a meet. And softball and baseball fields, of course, are finished now and in use. We do still work with the contractor on some punch list work. So while we recognize that the schedule fell a little bit behind, we feel that this project was really worth the wait for these fields. Our teams are excited about this. We've actually been able to host a game on our fields that a neighboring district was not able to host because they had natural grass fields and it was a rain day. So we've actually been able to use these just for the intended purpose in wet weather. So it's worked out well for us and our teams are really excited. One thing that's not on site yet is the press boxes. The subcontractor that we work with on that has struggled with their delivery timeline for the baseball and softball press boxes. So right now they're telling us it'll be early March, and we continue to work with our general contractor. They're physically driving up to their production site in North Texas to put their eyes on those, but we're looking for those in early March. And then the shade coverings, it's kind of hard to see, but between the tennis courts there's some small bleachers and shade canopies. Those came in the wrong color, but those will be arriving this week, and those will go up just within a day. And then during spring break, we'll have a little bit of remediation for some concrete that has some cracking. So they'll be back during spring break to do some additional work. But overall, we're really excited about this project. It's worked out really nicely.
If the press boxes arrive in early March, they say how long they'll take to actually get them up?
Just a few days. They're modular. They all go in one piece. So they'll just have a 2 or 3 day install, and then they'll go ahead and they'll do the electrical on those. And then we've got a little bit of work to do on our end to get connectivity, network, and those types of things in those. Yes, sir.
When do you have a chance to observe the rain?
Yeah, so far we haven't seen. I mean, we haven't really had a huge downpour, but we haven't had issues with drainage in this area yet. And though we didn't, for good reason, we didn't take pictures of the drainage. Just not quite as nice to look at as this. But there were significant drainage improvements as part of this project. We recognize that around this stadium, for those of us that have been around these ball fields, that was a large challenge with these ball fields. They just didn't drain very well. So there is significant amount of drainage work done on the outside of these fields that run to that large detention pond over by that portable, by the Phoenix portable. There's piping that runs all the way over there. So there's a significant amount of that installed, and there's still a little bit of work left to do on that. And so far it seems to be working out well. Great. Thank you. Ma'am?
Is that a real picture or is that just a?
It is. That's a real picture. We've got the contractor that we work with, as well as our program management team. They fly their drones pretty often. And these are a couple of drone shots from them.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are real photos. Yes, ma'am. Adjacent to that, different contractor, different project, but we're still on the ground right now. They anticipate getting steel this week and working overhead, but before we can get that done, we've got to make sure we've got a great foundation in place. On the left side there, they're getting all the storm drain taken care of, again, to make sure we've got drainage issues resolved before we get everything covered up. Fire riser on the bottom left, as we start the new press box with the CTE classroom and all the additional space, we will have fire suppression in that building. That's one of the things. While we do have a fire alarm, or did in our former press box, we didn't have fire suppression, so we will in this new one. But you can see there in that larger photo, all the piers are in place. And again, we expect structural steel to arrive this week, and we'll start going vertical virtually immediately. So that's exciting. When we start seeing steel going up, things move very quickly. But in the meantime, they've had a lot of underground work to do. They, unfortunately, working around stadiums, and I think in their experience and my experience, you find almost every line you've ever buried out there. So every time they dig a hole, you hit a line, and you find another line, and you have to reroute it. That's just part of it. So we've done a lot of that, rerouted electrical lines, water lines. But ultimately, they've got the things installed that we need. The domestic water line, the storm drains are installed, our fire line is installed. We're installing scaffolding to get the elevator installed. But again, steel erection is the next thing on the list. We do appreciate the approval for FF&E. For the furniture, we do have some more discussions ongoing with our CTE department for some of the specialty items, the lighting and all of the different aspects to their portions of the work that we'll begin discussing with them to make sure everything gets here on time. We had some questions last month related to schedule. So this project will be completed in the fall, but I'll let Jen Anderson speak briefly to the schedule and how this will relate to our overall impact on our football games.
Jen Anderson, Athletic Director. Randy asked me to talk about football because I know just with baseball and softball, there's lots of questions about what do we do with games. So just so you guys know, with our football schedule, realignment was done by UIL in February. So February the 2nd, they released our new districts. We're in a 6-team district, which means we have 5 district games. So we knew going into that we were going to plan to have all of our non-district games on the road to make sure we give enough time for this project so that we're not trying to figure out solutions when we're supposed to be playing a home game, but we're not actually playing a home game. So we created our schedule with that in mind. It actually helped a little bit being the size of schedule that we have. So we have all of those non-district games will be on the road, and we're going to be road warriors this year. So once we get into district, there's a grid that UIL gives you that kind of lays out for you who's going to be home and away, because a lot of teams we play also share stadiums and those kinds of things. So our non-district schedule will be on the road. We'll have a couple of district games that will be at home. They're late in the year. We knew that this project was going to be, a long project. And so we're making all kinds of plans for all the different kinds of things that could happen. One thing about football that makes it unique as opposed to our other sports is the games that you play this year away, you'll get to play at home the next year. So in 2026, fall of 26, we're going to be road warriors, and in fall of 27, get ready because every week's going to be a home game. So those games kind of come back around in terms of football. In other sports, you play both home and away against most teams, so it's not as easy to regulate. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. We will be playing JV games at home. There's reasons that we can host those games that are easier than with the whole home side of the stadium and the press box that make it really, really hard for a varsity game. So I don't know if there's any questions or if Randy has other comments to that, but.
Thanks, sir. All right. I'm staying with 24 Bond, the homestead, CTE culinary project is a small project, but it's really going well. This is a project, fortunately, it's, we're right there at our building. We get to see this and hear it a lot, but it's great. These guys are moving along well. I got to see a sneak peek of a video that was taken today, and it's really neat. The excitement around this project is really really neat. I think the uniqueness of this will be something that we'll remember for a long time. But overall, you can see the transition. That top left photo there, if you remember walking in that building, that was one of the walk-in freezer coolers. We've got some underground utilities going in there. At the bottom left there, you can see some excavation. That'll ultimately be for a grease trap that'll be installed outside the building. But that plumbing rough in you see there, that looks a little bit different now. They've filled in most of those trenches, had their inspections, filled in most of the trenches, and we'll have a concrete pour back later this week. So things are moving really smoothly there. There's still some demo going on in some other areas for concrete, and then plumbing roughing continues in other areas. Electrical folks are on site as well. Just as in other projects, we are working with stakeholders, with Maggie Howard and her team for FF&E discussions. We do have, of course, furniture for the classroom that'll be required, but she'll also have kitchen equipment that we'll need to purchase, small kitchen equipment that's not included in the project. And then we're still getting submittals turned in from the contractor that we'll review in the meantime. But overall, the August date will be here soon. So we're excited to see how this project progresses over the next 6 months. Elementary 6, Mrs. Reese. Here's the new project on the list. We've talked about this for a little while, but a couple of months ago, we did close on this property in Lund Farm through a transaction with Lund Farm developers and our connections with the city of Elgin. But this is a 12-acre site, very similar to the Trinity Ranch and Harvest Ridge Elementary site. We do anticipate, though it's not designed, we do anticipate an 800 student capacity elementary. WRA has been selected for this architectural design through our previous RFQ pool. They were one of the architects in the pool from 2024. We anticipate having a design kickoff within the next 30 days or so. Timeline, similar to what you all heard from Blake earlier tonight. Construction timeline will be contingent upon bond sales. We need, just based on our demographic study, we would need this school open by 2028, by August of 2028, to avoid overcrowding in other areas. But that all depends on when we're able to build it, if we've got the funds or not. Right now, we've got the funds to move forward with design, and then hopefully later this year, we're able to sell on bonds to actually fund the construction.
Is that design going to be the same as like Harvest Ridge and Trinity Ranch?
I would not anticipate, it's not a prototype, I'll say that. There may be some similarities, but we're working with a different architect. We'll have, of course, other, district folks and community involved. So there may be some similarities, but it will not be a prototype from Trinity Ranch and Harvest Ridge.
Is there any concern for us outgrowing it as fast as we have Harvest Ridge, though? I mean, if we're staying within the 800, I mean, it's only been 2 years for Harvest Ridge. And so is there a concern that we might need to bump up the amount of kids who are going to be there? So construction size and whatnot?
We will be, we also try to keep elementaries at a certain size because, as principals can say, it becomes an issue with the number of students that you do have. But when we open this school, we will be rezoning across the district to address the zoning issues because we have overcrowding even at NIDIG, and we have, by that time, be ready at Trinity Ranch, and we'll just have a lot of issues that every demographic report we get between now and the time that we open this will give us more information about what we need. But if you increase it to more, it also costs more. So this is about the capacity that we've been keeping our elementary schools. And then with capacity to put portables on those sites as well as needed. So,
but the portables also increase the population at the school is where I'm going.
Yes, we plan on that as part of the design so that we can plan on that if needed. It's not built into the school itself.
Yeah, on these, if we do a similar design to Harvest Ridge and Trinity Ranch, we 4 portables gets us, it gets us another 100 seats. So we build these for a core of 900 and we start out with 800. So your core spaces, your library, your restrooms, your cafeteria, those main spaces are designed for 900 in this particular discussion. And adding those portables would take us to 900 if we added all of them. But yeah, to Dr. Ritter's point, if to do bricks and mortar at 900 or 1,000, it would change the budget. It would impact it significantly.
Okay, that's the next question I was going to ask. Would it change the budget?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Right. Right.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Final questions.
And it's good. I know Coach Grimshaw will be glad to see those tennis courts before he retires. Tell him we're gonna do it. So that'll be exciting to be able to watch them at home.
Right. Yes, sir.
Really excited. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. Next, we have a couple of action items. The first one, consideration of an action to select firm to provide bond planning services. Mr. Rain.
Good evening once again. As we've heard here tonight, growth has been discussed a lot. I mean, that's really what this agenda item relates to is the continued growth of the district. As we've looked forward, as we talked about our construction plan, we want to be proactive with that. We don't want to wait for our bond funds to be exhausted before we start engaging and entertaining the idea of another bond. So in that vein, we've explored the idea of hiring Huckabee and Associates to come on board and partner with us for a potential spring 2027 bond. As part of that consideration, just keep in mind this was not a competitive service, as they are a professional service, architects, bond planners. So this is procured under same government code discussed earlier, 2254. Huckabee did our last bond and did a great job. We saw some of the highest approval numbers that we've seen on any of our bonds ever. So for that reason, that's the reason we're making this recommendation. As a professional service, it gives us that option to select someone based on those qualifications and that experience, and that's what Huckabee brings to the table for us. At this time, we want to make that recommendation to partner with Huckabee. Now, keep in mind this isn't calling a bond. Should we go through that process over the next year, that board consideration would come back in February, so virtually a year from now. That's not something we make tonight. So it's a long process. We'll go through facility condition assessment. We continue to look at our demographics. We go through long-range facility planning. All those types of things are wrapped up in bond planning. So it's a big effort. It's a heavy lift, but partnering with somebody like Huckabee will check all those boxes and get us to where we need to be. And then we'll come back in next February and make a recommendation. But at this time, that would be administration's recommendation to partner with Huckabee for bond planning for spring 2027.
Was any consideration given to PBK?
Yeah, I mean, I think sure. I think there are several firms in this area that are certainly qualified. We worked with PBK. Of course, they did our 2021 bond. There are a number of firms that had responded to RFQs in the past. They're qualified. It's just in our experience with Huckabee in this last bond, they did a good job for us. They've got experience in the district. And again, we saw really good participation from the community, and we saw our voting percentages for the two props at really high marks. So that's one of the things that brought us back to them. So again, it's not to say that other folks, BBK or Fluger, any of the other folks are not qualified. I mean, they are. There's folks, a lot of folks in the district or in the Central Texas area that can do this work. We're fortunate to be in an area that's got a lot of good firms, but Huckabee right now is who we feel is the most qualified, brings the best value to us for this particular service.
Right. Any other questions? Is that for consideration? Is there a motion in that regard?
I so move.
Motion by Mr. Morris,
Second.
second by Mrs. Walter-Scheid. Any other questions? All in favor of the firm being selected by the district, respond by raising your right hand. Any opposers? Right hand. Motion passes 5-2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, discussion and consideration of SB 11 resolution regarding daily school prayer and religious text reading in public schools.
Good evening again. Following the 89th legislative session, boards must take action regarding Senate Bill 11. If the school board decides to adopt the state's proposed resolution, a period of prayer and religious reading must be established on each school day and follow all the provisions set out in statute. Across the state of Texas, staff and students already have existing religious freedoms in place, which are protected by state and federal law, as well as by board policies. The First Amendment protects private religious expression. Texas Education Code 25.901 specifies that a public school student has an absolute right to individually, voluntarily, and silently pray or meditate in school in a manner that does not disrupt the instructional or other activities of the school. So for these reasons, administration recommends that the Board of Trustees decline to adopt the Senate Bill 11 resolution to establish daily prayer and time and reading of religious texts.
Are there any questions for Dr. Hickman? If not, okay. I move that we decline to adopt the SB 11 resolution to establish daily prayer time and the reading of religious texts. Second by Mrs. Reese. That's a question. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposers? Motion passes 7.
Thank you.
Next item, consideration of action to approve Elgin ISD delayed certification plan.
Good evening. I'm asking for you to consider the delayed certification plan as presented earlier this evening. Again, this will help to keep our district in much better place with our 79 teachers who are currently uncertified, and to ensure that we are able to continue the implementation of our support plan that we have in place and delay the requirements set forth by HB2.
Further recommendation, motion?
I so move.
Motion, you didn't say that, motion by Mr. Vega, second by Mr. Moss.
Yes.
Any questions? All in favor said motion, raise your right hand. Any opposers? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. It is 8:48 p.m. and the board will recess into closed session and reconvene as allowed under section 551.071 through 551.084 of the Texas Government Code to discuss purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, Texas Government Code 551.072, discuss personnel matters, Texas Government Code 551.074, consultation with legal counsel regarding immigration enforcement and related legal issues pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071 and 551.129. A discussion regarding superintendent's compensation in terms of contract, consultation with district legal counsel regarding the same, Texas Government Code 551.074, 551.071. And yeah, that's case consideration and possible action to approve. No, that's me. Sorry. All right. Should any final action, final decision, or vote be required in the opinion of the school board with regard to any matters considered in such closed session or executive meeting, then the final action, final decision, or vote shall be either in the open meeting covered by the notice upon reconvening of the public meeting or at a subsequent public meeting of the school board upon notice thereof, as the school board shall return. Thank you. It is 10:10 p.m. The board will reconvene into open meeting at this time. During the closed meeting, only the items that appeared on the agenda were discussed. No final action, no final decision or vote was taken during the closed meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the longevity as presented in closed session, specifically 4% longevity payment effective 7/1/2026 for superintendent.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Reese, second by Mr. Moss. Are there any questions? All in favor of said motion, raise your right hand. Any opposers? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. It is 10:11 PM. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Motion by Mr. Moss, I'll second it. All in favor, respond by aye. Aye. It is 10:11 PM. This meeting is adjourned.